Nan Simonson. I am the author of Aging Powerfully. My book, my platform, my intent is to show people, tell people that as we get older, we're not the victim of anything more than our lifestyle and how we live it. That's why I wrote Aging Powerfully. I was almost 70. This was more than 3 years ago. And I thought, oh no, here goes the dark ages. And then I thought, no, I could have 1, 2, or 3 decades ahead of me. And as a coach at a lifestyle medical clinic, I see what lifestyle as medicine, especially, no, including and especially the whole food plant-based foundation of our eating plan. I'm 100% whole food plant-based, have been going on 6 years now, but any amount of that makes a difference. And so I am thrilled to introduce you to somebody who knows how to whole food, plant-based, vegan, whichever way you want to call it, even though there's plenty of vegan junk food, whole food, plant-based pretty well cleans all that up. She teaches, and you're going to hear what she has in our 2024 vegan bundle. But before I do, I want to introduce you to Elspeth Feldman. She is the Speedy Vegan. And I said to her, I'm not going to ask you questions before we go on, but what's with the title? I love Speedy Vegan. So Elspeth, take it away. I'm going to give you full screen, and she is going to tell you her story. She's going to share her brilliance in the kitchen. She'll tell you about her bundle. And then she's obviously going to make us something because I see pots and pans. All right.
Well, thanks, Nan. Thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure to meet you. I've been a big fan of yours for the last few years. I think I first saw you on Chef AJ, and then I bought your book, which I think is absolutely fabulous. I've read it upstairs. Your story is very powerful, and thank you for sharing it. I mean, so many people have these stories and they keep it to themselves, but yours is particularly powerful, and it's really, you're a wonderful example to us all. So thank you, Nan, and thanks for having me on this platform of yours. And kudos to you for figuring out all the technology. I'm impressed. So my name is Elspeth. I am also known as the Speedy Vegan. I have a website called The Speedy Vegan, and I have Instagram as well. That's probably the place where I'm most busy is Instagram. And I also have Facebook, but I just prefer Instagram. I was telling Nan I love pretty pictures. Oh, and I got my oven going, so let me push that button again. I need to get something in the oven, so let me get something in the oven. I'll tell you what I'm going to cook, and then we'll weave back to a little bit of my story and also tell you about the bundle, the vegan health bundle, and everything that's in it. So I am making a recipe today that's from the vegan bundle. It's from a contributor called Lisa Rice. She has a book called Vegan Around the World, and I love travel and stuff, so it caught my eye, and I quickly ran through it and thought, well, what are we having for dinner tonight? My husband's a big fan of Chinese food, and there it was, a General Tso's tofu instead of General Tso's chicken. So I have some tofu here, which I need to get into the air fryer. I'm first going to just toss it with some seasoned corn flour, or I'm using brown rice flour actually for this one. So I'm just going to get this tossed up. You can tear your tofu apart, or you can just cube it like I have. I'm just going to toss this a little bit in here. And then I have the Breville air fryer, and I like to use these parchment paper. You're an air fry girl, aren't you, Nan?
I love my Breville hot air oven.
Yeah.
It's the star of my kitchen, actually. Yes.
Really?
And
Good,
I use
good,
it
good.
every day for my husband's potatoes. And ooh, look at that parchment. Go ahead.
Parchment paper with little holes. Have you found this yet?
No, I haven't. So I want to hear more.
Yeah, so it's great for air frying. So I just it just keeps your tray a little bit cleaner. So I'm just going to toss this tofu right here onto the air fry tray. And I did go live on my Instagram a little bit earlier today, and I made a dish with mushrooms. Now, I'm a big improviser. When I find a recipe, I like to just add some other little touches, and I happen to love air-fried mushrooms. And I have some mushrooms that I chopped up from the live that I did earlier today. So I think I'm going to just add them to this tray. They're not part of this recipe at all, but there's no rules around what you can put in your General Tso's tofu. So there you go. So I'm just going to spread these out on my air fry tray and pop this in. We'll see how we do time-wise and get that going. I've got the temperature fairly high, so I'll just keep checking on it. All right, that's in the oven. Let me tell you a little bit more about me and the Speedy Vegan. So the name The Speedy Vegan just came up. I went I went plant-based in 2011, so quite a while now. My husband and I were traveling in France with our kids, and my son, who was 15 at the time, out of the blue announced that he was going to become a vegetarian. And I was outraged, not outraged, I was just sort of like aghast, like, okay, well, this is strange, but it just came out of the blue. Why? And then I thought, well, it's not really going to last very long. It'll probably last a week or so. He's 15. He's a jock. He's, playing on all the sports teams. So I thought, well, okay, go ahead. I mean, try it out. So he did. And then a year later, he was still vegetarian. And I sat him down and I said, look, honey, you've got to pick a protein here because this is ridiculous. You're, playing on all these sports teams and this is just, I mean, there was nothing wrong with him. He was thriving. He was captain of the soccer team, etc. He was doing great. But apparently, I had decided that he had to choose chicken, fish, or, beef or pork or something. And he just refused. He absolutely refused. So I thought, well, maybe I should look into this whole vegetarian thing a little bit closer. And right around that time, Forks Over Knives had come out. So my husband and I sat down and watched Forks Over Knives together. And we kind of looked at each other and thought, well, he's on to something. Maybe we should try. We weren't going to do the vegan thing because that was just way too far. We thought we would at least try to be vegetarian. So there was a 28-day challenge that Rip Esselstyn had, and we thought, well, we'll try that. And in that first week, when you try something new, you learn everything you possibly can. Now, back then, there wasn't a whole lot online. The internet wasn't what it is today, and there wasn't much on YouTube. So I learned all that I could about it, and it just didn't make sense to me to be vegetarian. Once I sort of factored in the whole animal side of it, I was an animal lover. I was like, oh my goodness, I just had somehow divided the two things and just didn't connect. And I was like, okay, that's it. I'm going to be vegan. So I went vegan about a week into it. And my husband stayed vegetarian. He kept eating eggs and dairy for a couple more years. And then eventually, switched over to being fully vegan. So that was the start of my vegan journey. And somewhere along the way, I've always been interested in cooking. And sorry, I have a German Shepherd running around the house here barking. So hopefully, can you hear me okay, Nan?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I want to meet your dog if you want to call him over.
Oh, yeah, he'll come. He'll come in a moment because there's broccoli involved in the recipe and he loves broccoli. Hey, Prince! Prince, I got broccoli. We'll see if he comes over. Princey! When I start cooking it, he'll come over.
Funny.
So anyway, speaking of cooking, I should probably get going on the next little step of this, and I'll interject more of my story as we go.
Fine.
So the other part of this recipe, this is from the Vegan Health Bundle, which is going on now, and I think Nan has a link to it somewhere in the notes here, where you can go and buy the bundle. We both have affiliate links, and you buy it from either of us. It doesn't matter. And in that bundle, you get over $8,000 worth of content, and it's Prince is still running around. $8,000 worth of content for $49. And one of the inclusions in this bundle is from Lisa Rice. Nan has a fantastic course that she's contributed. I have one which I'll tell you about in a moment. But from Lisa Rice's book, it's a vegan around the world. I'm making the General Tso's tofu. So in this pan right here, there's no oil in any of the recipes in this vegan health bundle. And so we don't cook with oil. No need to cook with oil. I'm just going to get my back burner going here. I have a sticky burner. It just doesn't seem to light. So I've got to light it with a a bit of a dramatic spark here. Sorry. So I've got my pan back here. You can see it, all right? Can you?
Yes,
I'm
yes.
gonna I'm gonna use the front burner in a little bit, but right now I've got the back burner on here, and I need to get some peppers and onions cooked up. I've also got some garlic and ginger, which I'll chop up as well, and we'll get those in the pan. So once this is heated up a little bit, by heating up a stainless steel pan, it gives a little bit of a sort of a non-stick surface if you get it nice and hot before you throw in the onions. You can throw them in, now, but I'm a big fan of stainless steel. Nan, do you use stainless steel? What is your choice of pan?
I do. I heard you talking to Chef AJ a while ago, and you said that that is primarily your cooking pan. I use all clad and scan pan,
Okay.
but quite frankly, I use their non-stick, even
Okay.
though I have a lot of all clad stainless steel. I didn't realize that the stainless steel would be non-stick as non-stick if you just heat it up hot enough. For
Yeah, if you just heat it up hot enough. So, for instance, I always have like a little bottle of water on the side, which is, I used to have a bottle of olive oil on the side back in the day. But if you just, I'm just going to just sprinkle a few little drops of water on here, and as the water bounces around on the top of on the hot pan, you know that it's time to you can put the vegetables in, and it's not going to stick as much. So that's the sort of splatter test that I do. So I've got to chop up a orange pepper as well. Again, the recipe calls for red pepper. I have a red and an orange, but I'm not one to stick to exact recipes. You always just make it your own with whatever ingredients you have. So I'm just loosely slice, big sort of sliced chunks, um, however you like it. I'm sure you could dice it up if that's the way you preferred it. I'm going to go ahead and put my onion that I've already chopped up into the pan. And then I'm going to let that sizzle and start to caramelize just a little bit. Um, and then I'll add in the peppers. And whilst we're waiting for the onions to caramelize a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and chop up the ginger and garlic. So this is a tool that I love. I have a website called thespeedyvegan.com. On my website, there is a Amazon store. I'm an Amazon affiliate link, but you don't have to buy from there. I'm just telling you that that's where a lot of the products that I use are on. So feel free to go and look for that. I have some garlic cloves, and I've got some ginger. So I've taken some of the skin off of the ginger. It's a very thin skin. You really don't need to take all the skin of it. You can. A good way to peel ginger is just with a teaspoon. The skin is very soft, so you can do that. I just don't have a teaspoon here right now. So I'm going to cut the ginger into little chunks and put it in this wonderful chopper. I bet you have one of these, Nan.
Oh, absolutely. That's the Tupperware mini chopper. Love that.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Just the mini chopper, and I've got it stuck because I've got a big chunk of ginger that I should have cut smaller. Oh well. Let's see. Make it a little smaller, and then we'll get it going.
That's always been one of my favorite small thing choppers because
Yeah.
you can get 15 or 18 or 20 cloves of garlic in there and chop it that quickly.
Right. Yeah. I'll often go ahead and just cut up enough ginger or garlic for the week, with whatever recipes I think I'm going to be having, and store them in little jars in the refrigerator. So I've got my onion going here. It's cooking up. I'm going to go ahead and put in the peppers, and I'm going to turn down my heat a little tiny bit. And then I'll put in the ginger and garlic. Now the ginger and garlic can stick and burn a little bit, so you got to be a little bit careful with that. Just want to make sure that the peppers and the onions get to release some of their juices into this pan. All right. So it's
So to
starting to,
find this recipe, they're looking for Lisa Rice's contribution.
yes,
And in
yeah,
the contribution, they will find General Tso's chicken.
Yes.
excuse me, non-chicken tofu.
No. Look how we do that. Our brains are just so set on that. Yeah. General Tso's tofu.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what we're making here.
And
So
that's TSO. That's
yeah.
Tao. If you're
Yeah.
looking for what do you do, what word is she using, that's what she's saying.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and get this ginger and garlic put in here. And then I always have that little bottle of water on the side where I can add a little splash to this if it starts to burn or starts to stick a little bit too much. So that'll be fine. So the cooking side of the Speedy Vegan and why the website started, I'd gone to culinary school, just the local community college culinary school. You know, did a bunch of cooking semesters there in cooking. Right before I started to, right before I became vegan. But I'd always been a fairly healthy eater, and in classic culinary school, there's a lot of dairy, eggs, and cream, and it was just like, oh my goodness, I don't want to eat like this. So there must have been a side of me that was, slightly health conscious. And I said, you know what, I'm not going to continue on with the formal training. I'm just going to, do my own thing. So I just got the basics from culinary school, which is great, but then I didn't continue on with and get the actual degree or anything like that. It just sort of went off on my own. Um, and I've always been a very passionate cook. I grew up cooking. My mother was a good cook, and at the age of 12, I was making dinners with roast chicken and all the vegetables and trimmings and chocolate mousse and chocolate cakes and anything. I was always very very confident in the kitchen. That was the one place that I was always very confident in. And my father had died when I was 9, and my mother had four less kids to take care of. She was working full time, so she would call home and say, well, can you put on the roast, or can you do this, or can you do that? And so I just got very comfortable doing it. Didn't really think much of it, but I really enjoyed it. So the cooking started young. And then once I became vegan, it was really fun to get creative and figure out how to veganize meals and how to feed a family and how to do everything, make it look really pretty. I love to make things look really pretty because I think we really eat with our eyes. So that was the website began in about 2014, just on a whim. My husband, I was complaining to my husband that some of the YouTube videos I was seeing out there were taking like 45 minutes to make gravy, and I thought, oh, well, that's just, I was just falling asleep watching the videos, and I thought, no, I want like the Speedy Vegan, someone who can do something fast. And he was like, well, that's it. You're the Speedy Vegan. And he went and bought the URL right away, and he said, get it going. And so finally, I got a little confident and got a website going, and then I started doing cooking classes, and during the pandemic, did a lot of cooking classes online, which was absolutely fabulous. And in fact, the contribution that I have in this incredible vegan bundle is it's a series of cooking classes that I did recorded live, and includes all the recipes. One is a French class. It's called Fantastic French. One is a Indian class, Inspiring Indian, and the other is Tasty Thai. And the recipes are all, vegan and oil-free, and it really helps you get comfortable cooking food from around the world, just like we're doing now with this Chinese-inspired dish. Here comes Prince. Prince, come over here, say hi. Can you see Prince yet, Nan?
Oh, he's gorgeous.
Isn't
Oh,
he
is he
beautiful?
all black?
He is, well, he's black and tan. Come over here, Prince, so they can see you.
Oh,
Can you
he's
see?
beautiful.
And he loves his broccoli. There you go.
Is that is that a huge beard he has?
He's a long coat German Shepherd. If
Oh,
you go to my Instagram page, the Speedy Vegan on Instagram, I have whole albums sort of dedicated to him on my stories, and he appears many times in all my stuff. But he's a beautiful dog. He's a rescue, actually. We rescued him in 2020, right before the pandemic. Lucky us. We found him. He found us. And he became part of our family, and he's just the best dog ever.
How old is he?
He's about 6.5. So,
Okay. So you
yeah.
have many years with him. He's
Many
magnificent.
years left. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
many years left. I grew up on I should guess I should give you a little backstory. I grew up on a farm in Zimbabwe, and I'm a dairy farmer's daughter, actually. And we had many dogs growing up. We had we had labs, we had, fox terriers, we had all sorts of dogs, but we always had German shepherds as well. So I was really comfortable with German shepherds. My husband, on the other hand, grew up with a beagle. So when it came time to get a family dog for us, he always wanted to have a shepherd, but he didn't think he was shepherd worthy. And I was like, oh yeah, of course, we got to get a shepherd. And so when our kids were little, we started getting German shepherds. We got purebred German shepherds from breeders, and then finally, we had them in our lives for many years. But of course, dogs don't live as long as we want them to. And then when it came time to get another dog, I said, I'm only getting a rescue dog. I don't care what kind of dog it is. I'm just getting a rescue dog. And somebody tagged us in a post on Facebook, just, February 13th of 2020, and we laid eyes on Prince. There he is. Come over here. Come over here. You get more broccoli over here if you're on the camera. Over here. Come on. Over here. And around. Can you see him now?
Oh,
Over
God,
here.
it's so beautiful.
Yeah, over here. Look at Nan. There you go. So that's how we ended up with this beautiful dog. So,
Now,
are you a dog person, Nan?
absolutely. Let me guess. Is he 95 pounds?
He is exactly 95 pounds.
Yeah.
Exactly 95 pounds.
I
Yeah.
play a game with that. I try to guess dogs' weights.
Okay, how about me?
I'm not going to go there.
Not 95 pounds?
I think you're about 115.
Yeah, a little bit more, but yeah, not worried about that. That's funny, Nan. You guessed his weight. He's really a whole lot of fur, so people think he's like 120 pounds, but he's 95 pounds. So, um, anyway, so I've done a bunch of cooking series on my website. If you look, you can see classes. I've got all these different series. So there's one that was called Meals and Mocktails in May, and that was what is it? Mexican, Italian, and American food. So 3 different classes with the recipes. And then we did a sweet and savory summer. I think there was Mediterranean. Can't remember the other ones. Anyway, there's a bunch of different, foods from around the world. I've traveled a lot. I've lived in different countries and settled here on the east coast of the U.S. Been married to my husband for almost 34 years, and live here now. But we still get to travel a bunch. So as we travel, you taste new things and learn new things, and then come home and try and recreate them in the pantry, in the kitchen rather.
So, do you
Um,
create most of your recipes from scratch, or do
yeah,
you look for inspiration somewhere and then just
it's very often eating in a restaurant and then trying to create what I've tasted. I have 3 siblings, and they all happen to live in the south of France, which, Nan, I have to tell you, is a real hardship when we have to go visit them in the summer. Um,
is it
you know,
Provence? Where do they live?
they live in an area called Languedoc, which
Mhm.
Languedoc Reserve, which is towards Spain. It's south. It's sort of, Provence is on one side of France, and they're more towards Spain. So
All right.
along the coast, yeah, near Montpellier is the city, the big city that they live near. So my family live there, and so we travel there a lot. And there's creperies and chocolate souffle and creme brulees and salad niçoise and bouffe bourguignon, all these wonderful things. And so I just make them vegan, and that's what you can. Those are the recipes that you'll get in the bundle, in the vegan health bundle, in my French cooking class. So those are inspired by my many, many trips to France when I have to go visit my family. Um, and then the Indian part of the series, I was born and raised in Zimbabwe, and then I finished high school in Durban, South Africa. Durban is a city in South Africa. I lived there for 2 years. And it had, at that time, it had the highest concentration of Indians in the world anywhere outside of India, that particular city called Durban. So there were mosques and spice markets and curry shops and just wonderful fragrances, wafting through the city. And so there was a big Indian influence there. So my love of Indian food was inspired by living there. And I have a son. My son is just absolutely crazy about Indian food. So we eat a lot of Indian food whenever he comes to visit, and we still do. So a lot of the Indian recipes are inspired by that. Um, and then the Thai side of it, I've never been to Thailand. We just love Thai food, so that's the Thai part of the French, Indian, and Thai that are part of my contribution to the bundle.
Let me show them again. This is the face. Oh, there. It's a little hard to see, and I can show you later. But
I'm
this is,
actually seeing myself. I don't know if you're sharing your screen.
oh, okay, that's all right. Anyway, French, Indian, and Thai vegan cooking classes, 40 recipes, 3 cooking class videos, step by step, with the most beautiful woman next to the most beautiful woman. It's Elspeth and her daughter, Kaylee.
Yeah, so that's the part that I haven't talked about. So during the pandemic, my husband and daughter were like, "Oh, well, why don't we, you start doing cooking classes?" And I was like, "I can't do that," And they were like, "Oh, absolutely, you can." And my daughter, sometimes I say I raised my daughter, other times I say my daughter raised me. She's just so confident and so, there's nothing she can't do kind of attitude. And she was like, okay, stand here and just do what you do all the time and cook. And I was like, okay. And she just turned on the camera and let it go. And I did it, only because she gave me the confidence that I could. We did Zoom classes during the pandemic to people all over the world. It was absolutely fantastic. It was really fun. Built a nice community. But my daughter really inspired me. And so what we did, if you watch any of the classes, Nan, is I cook a recipe here, and then my daughter, who lives in Boston, we would Zoom connect with her. So whilst I was changing the set, like if I was doing French onion soup, and then I had to change it for the next recipe, which might have been salad niçoise or something, as I was clearing the set and putting everything back on, the camera would go to her Zoom, and she did a little presentation on the nutrients and some of the history of the dishes that we were serving, that I was cooking. And then it would come back to me, and I would cook the next recipe, and then I'd go back to her. So you don't only get the recipes and the cooking, demo. You also get a little bit of background on the nutrients and the history of the dishes and stuff. So it's really fun. But it was a really fun collaboration. I love my daughter. She's just wonderful, wonderful, and we had a great time doing it. So yeah, that's Kaylee.
Well, I can't wait. Well, I was going to say I can't wait till we're finished, but no, I'm excited to see everything you do all the way through, and then I'll stop and go and look and remind everybody that we now know that we have 151 collaborators in this vegan bundle with a value, I think you were just told that a little while ago, of over $8,000. Any one of these classes would be worth the $49 that
Yeah.
to have this information forever, because you can end up downloading it, putting it on a flash drive, uh, keeping it on in the cloud for a year, and just then download it and have it for a lifetime. Go ahead. It looks like you.
Yeah, and you don't have to, what I was just going to say there is you don't have to download every single contribution. You don't have to download all 150. You can just pick and choose, like, oh, that looks interesting. I'll download that. I'll download that. I'm really not interested in that. So you don't have to get everything. So people are like, oh, it's a lot of content, but find the things that you want to play with and do. So I'm just going to steam some broccoli real quick because that's got to be part of dinner. I just have a little steamer basket here in my pot, which I think you can see. And I'm going to just add a little broccoli here. It's actually not a little broccoli. It's probably more than enough broccoli for my husband, myself, and Prince, because yes, he gets his own bowl of broccoli whenever we have broccoli at the dinner table. So that is going to steam for a little bit. And that is my favorite way of cooking my vegetables for breakfast. Um, in Lisa Rice's recipe, there is a sauce that I just went ahead and made in advance. So I'm not going to make that live here, but I have the sauce ready. So I will add the air fried tofu, which I've kind of forgotten about. Looks like it's doing great. Give it another 5 minutes or so. I'll add the air fried tofu to this pan with some of the sauce and get it all, mixed together. And then we'll serve that over broccoli and rice, which I have to grab from my freezer because I haven't made any tonight. But I'll serve that over rice and then, garnish it with some green onions and sesame seeds. So Nan, I want to hear are you going to talk about your contribution to the bundle at all? You want to give us a little overview?
Sure. Let's split screen. I wanted to ask you a question as well, and that is, do you keep, I don't know if that's La Crusade, but I have a La Crusade. Mine's green, yours is beautiful blue. And I keep one on the back burner on my stove with the steamer basket in there. And
Yeah,
every night there's something that we
something
throw
going
in
on.
there to steam while we're doing everything else to be sure that we've got plenty of vegetables. Do you leave yours that way as well?
So I have, when I'm not set up like this, I always have this little blue one. This is the 4-quart one. This is a stove, which
Uh,
is the other French one. It has these little grommets on the bottom of the pot, so it's everything dripped back into the pot, which I love. I have that one, which is a 4-quart, and then this is my big 8-quart one, also stove, that is on the back burner. So I have not one but two.
yeah.
So the difference with like you're saying, I used to work at Williams Sonoma as well, so I know all that stuff now, and I got the discounts. That was a while ago. They have these little grommets. I don't know if you can see in the light here.
Very, very.
So all the condensation, like if you're making a sauce or a soup, when you lift the thing, it just drips right back into the thing, which is a great design. It's also the black, the black surface rather than the white, which is nice for a messy cooker like me. So I can't get the Le Creuset ones clean. So yeah, so that's how I have my stove set up. It's always, just inspiring to get cooking. So for sure. Um,
So I'll go ahead and talk about mine. I was going to see if I had my little copy. It's somewhere and I didn't even think about it. And that is that the name of mine is Cook, Eat, and Live for Vibrant Health. And I offered to the senior center a 5-week course, the point of which was to encourage the seniors to cook at home, eat plant forward, if not completely plant based, and then show them how.
mhm.
So in the bundle, and I did this via videos at the senior center because I couldn't bring them all to my kitchen. And I wanted them to see all the equipment that I have that they could easily replicate because it wasn't that much. But the videos are broken up into the meals of the day. So we have breakfast recipes, lunch recipes, dinner recipes, snack and dessert recipes. And the last one, or the fourth. And then for the fifth one, it's kitchen tools for cooking, no, for prepping, cooking, and storing. So those are all videos. There are 25 recipes. And that's what my contribution is. And I want to be sure that you can find Elspeth's, because when you go to the bundle, at least for the contributors, it's this way, and I believe it will be for you. The visuals, well, you can get it in list form, but you really do want it in the visuals where you can see the what we call the front page, and we're all alphabetical. So yours is under Elspeth, not
Yes,
Speedy.
yeah,
Yes,
it's under Elspeth. Yeah, yeah,
under Elspeth, and
yeah,
mine's under Nan Simonson.
yeah, yeah. And just as you were saying that, any of my social media platforms are the Speedy Vegan, not just Speedy Vegan. I think there is a Speedy Vegan out there, but I'm the Speedy Vegan. So
Okay.
just pointing that out. So I would be in the T's if I were, rather than the S's. So yeah. But yeah, no, I looked through your course. It's beautifully designed and so much information there, and super helpful to have that bit on equipment and stuff because people want to know, like, which one do I choose? And if you just have, well, this is what I use, this is how I like it, it's really helpful. So that's great. And then just having those recipes. I know I wanted to make one of the recipes from your bundle, and you said, no, 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 make something else.
I want you to do what you do. I was so thrilled to see that you were including the different cuisines. You have 40 recipes. You're working with your daughter. What fun is that? You're vegan and SOS-free. That's terrific. So I'm going to do what Chef AJ does and ask you if you would to share what you eat in a day.
Oh, okay, absolutely. So, I'm a big vegetable eater. I just took the tofu and mushrooms out. So with my little pot here that's always steaming, I will always make my husband thinks that I'm just trying to entice Prince to come and work with me in my office because I work from home, I work remote. So I take my big bowl of broccoli up to my office, and then he just comes and sits and watches me and waits for little tidbits. So, but I do eat vegetables for breakfast. I also love overnight oats and things like that. So I need something sort of satiating. I'm a very, very hungry girl. So I eat a lot, way more than anyone else in my house. I eat a lot, and I just come from a family of really big eaters. So my husband is, super trim and athletic and, rides a gazillion miles a day on his bike. But I feel like I eat more than him. So I eat a lot of vegetables. So that'll be greens, and then maybe I'll have some overnight oats. I'm trying to be very cognizant of my protein a little bit more. So as I age, I'm 57, and just feel like, maybe I got to pay a little closer attention to protein. I know there's protein in everything, but I also feel like, yeah, I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to this. In fact, I did do a live a little while ago, and I want to pull over a recipe, a typical recipe that I might make often. This is a recipe called San Francisco oat. It's a savory oats. So this recipe is from Well Your World's favorite, volume 2 favorites, also in the bundle. Dylan and Reeves own a company called Well Your World. They make salt-free seasonings and such. And they have a recipe there called San Francisco oatmeal, or savory oats, or San Francisco oats. And in fact, I have the photograph. I can show you what it looks like. Yeah, they call it San Francisco oats. I just made this on my Instagram live a little while ago, and I'm going to show you a picture of it. So this is what it looks like on their recipe book,
All right.
and this is what it looks like in real life. It's really no different to the recipe book. So
So
if
are
you
you going to have that for dinner tonight? That
so
sounds like a great dinner.
all of this, right? So I would have, in a typical day, I might have something like this for breakfast, like a savory oats. It's got lentils in it, a little bit of oatmeal, and a bunch of lentils. So I try and get a lot of beans and things like that. Then my lunch will be a big salad, and I mean big salad, with maybe some, potatoes and things like that cooked in it. And then he's looking for broccoli. And I do eat tofu and tempeh. I do eat that. And then a dinner would be something like this, Indian food, Mexican food, Italian food, some kind of ethnical food with a lot of flavor in it. I don't eat salt, so I use a salt-free seasoning. I'm a big fan of Benson's Table Tasty.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't not eat salt. I guess I minimize salt, put it that way. So yeah. And that's what it would be. So the next step in this recipe would be to get the tofu, and I'm going to put the nice thing about this hold parchment paper is that I can just sort of like lift up the parchment paper, and I'm going to just sort of get all of the tofu and mushrooms into the pot here, into the pan here, and get it to mix together with the sauce. So we've got the onions, the red pepper, the mushrooms, and the tofu. It's actually sticking to this. It doesn't usually stick to this, so I'm just going to have to pull it off here.
So
Grab one of these.
do you, is that the parchment paper available on your affiliate page on your website. And if somebody didn't get it there, where would they get it?
Amazon, you can get it at Amazon. Yeah, it is on my Amazon page, or if it's not, it will be tonight. I think I was supposed to put it on there, but I don't think I've done that yet. So yeah, you can put it on. I'll put it on there later, but you can just order it from Amazon. Um, and I just tossed together the sauce with the tofu. And that's the nice thing about this is the first time I've made this actual recipe from Lisa's book, and I'm just going through the bundle. This was the first time I made Dylan's San Francisco oats, so that would be another example. So typically I would put a bunch of rice in here, brown rice or oat groats or any kind of grain that you like or not, and then just serve up the General Tso's. I'll probably I could put the broccoli in here as well, but I'm going to keep it separate. Because if I do, yes, I do serve my dog from my plate sometimes. At the table, I have a begging dog. I know it's terrible, but that's the way we roll in this house. He's very spoiled. And then I just add some, can we see here? We can see here. I can't quite, you can see this bowl right here. I'm just going to put a little bit of sesame seeds over the top of it. I could put the sesame seeds in there, but they look so much prettier when you just sprinkle it on at the end. And then I've got some green onions here, which I've topped and tailed. And I'm just going to chop them real quickly on a diagonal here. So just putting the point of your blade down, pinching up on your knife, and you just want to get sort of the white and the green, because it's going to look pretty with the green, but the white's going to be nice and tasty as well. Slice them on a diagonal, and here we have a nice little garnish for this dish. You could also put a little cilantro. I think the recipe calls for cilantro as well. Put the rest of that in my compost, and there you have General Tso's.
Delicious, just
yeah.
Delicious. That's so beautiful.
Let's see if it is, though, Nan.
All right.
Got to put it to the test, right?
I wish I could reach right through and have some. I want some.
Let's see. Okay. So I tasted the sauce when I made it, but let's see how good it is. It's really good. I love that.
I like the General Tso sauce. It's quite often rather somewhat sweet.
Yeah. So obviously I'm not going to reveal the ingredients. You have to get it in the bundle. But this is good. This is really good. I'm excited for my husband to try it for dinner. I think he's going to be a fan. So this is delicious. But there I have, a couple of dishes that I've just been making from the bundle. And if you get the bundle, and you're obviously never going to make everything. Just figure out a few things that you do want to try. In my offering in the bundle, you can actually watch me make it and then go try it as well. So that's kind of fun. In Nan's offering, same thing. You can watch her make it.
Yep. Print up the recipes and use them when you want to.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to leave people with? I'm so excited to try that recipe. I like the idea of the oats. I'm going to try that. I make the Instapot oats once a week, every week, and I keep them in the refrigerator because I have oat groats in the morning with berries on them. But I've gone through phases. I don't know if you all go through phases. I went through a phase of, almost a year of savory oats with spinach and
wonderful.
and shiitake mushroom, and I love that. And then I sort of went back to the berries on the oat groats, and I love that. And there's so many things we can do with our breakfasts when it comes to grains. Would you say that you are maybe 60, 70, or 80% starch based in your eating?
Again, like you say, going through phases, because I would say, if you asked me last year, I would say absolutely, yes, that sounds about right. This year, or not this year, the last sort of 6 months, more, maybe less starch than I have before, but only because I literally eat. You can't believe how many vegetables I eat. I eat like an entire head of cauliflower that's riced. So I'll eat the cauliflower rice, and then the entire bag of broccoli slaw. I don't know, an iron stomach. My daughter just laughs at me. She's like, nobody eats that much vegetables. So I think, maybe I fill up a lot on vegetables. So I don't know, not quite as much starch as I used to.
Okay.
But yeah.
And you have legumes on a daily basis
Yeah,
as
and then I was going to say, and then I've also started eating a lot more tofu and tempeh. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm fit and healthy and fine. I've definitely, noticed changes over the last couple of years. Things that I did when I was younger to maintain weight or lose weight or trim up or get slender don't work the same for me as they did. So just trying a few different things. I've definitely seen a few more pounds creep on over the last couple of years. But that could also be related to the fact that I have a much more sort of intense job that I do, full time, and so I'm not as I have a treadmill desk, so I have my desk raised and I walk on a treadmill, much like Dr. Greger, but it's not the same as when you're just, running around all the time. So yeah.
I'm admiring your cutting board, and a lot of people have transitioned to the plastic ones. How do you feel about that?
I don't like that. No, I don't like them.
Loaded question, because I figured I was going to get the answer I'm about to get, because I think you and I are on the same page. Would you
Yeah.
like to talk about that?
Sure. I mean, I love, this is, I don't know why I pulled this knife. This is a 6-inch knife. I never use it. I always use an 8-inch chef's knife. And these are very sharp. These are the Japanese shun knives. They're also on my Amazon store, but they're very, very sharp. So if you're going and cutting into plastic, you're getting a little bit each time. I just don't think it's as safe as the wood. This is just a nice hard wood. Maybe it blunts your knives more. I do get my knives professionally sharpened. Just take them to a guy, and he spends an hour. I have a whole block of knives here, and I just take them all at one. I just wait. Like you get your tires rotated. I wait and get my knives sharpened, and then I come home and get them done. So yeah, I don't have any plastic chopping boards in my house, but if that works for you, that's fine. I'm no judgment.
Well, microplastics have become something that's a really important subject.
Yes.
That's one of the reasons that, even though some people would say fish are healthy,
Hmm.
they're swimming around in microplastics and toxins.
Yes.
And so for that reason, they're not so healthy.
Hmm.
And tell us about your knives in between your professional sharpening. Do you use a honing tool, and do you want to show them how to use it? Oh, you
No,
don't?
not at all. No, no, I don't. I literally don't do that. I have one. I never do it. I
Okay.
just take it to him. Isn't that funny? I don't do that. Do you? Are you?
Well, I don't have a fellow that I drop my knives off to.
Okay.
And so, yes. And because when we're cutting, and I use hardwood, let me pull myself back together. When when you're cutting and you find that you can't, at least I feel, can't slice very easily, cleanly through a tomato, then I think, oh, get it out, Nan. And what
Yeah.
happens is the edge of your, let me get my fingers in the right place, the edge of the knife just sort of frays. And that's what I call it, fraying.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And that
yeah.
honing tool pulls
Really.
it back together. It straightens it back up, and you'll see the difference to slide back through.
Hmm.
Yours, I could see, are beautifully sharp. So
Yeah.
you obviously, they're good, strong knives, and you obviously take them in often enough. Some people fear sharp knives. Um,
Yeah.
from someone who's gone to culinary school, I'll let you tell them why a sharp knife is actually safer than a
Yeah,
knife.
absolutely. Well, I mean, first off, the one thing that I will say is that, under your chopping board, make sure that you have, I use these little sticky things. These are actually jar openers, as we age, our grip strength is not what it is. And so these are jar openers, but they're really perfect for sticking down a board so that you're stable. Because this is a granite, so if I didn't have the little sticky thing underneath, it would be quite slippery, and that wouldn't be safe. I'm just going to grab some of my other knives here, Nan, since we're on the topic of knives. Oh my goodness, I do have a lot. I'm just going to bring over a few, a few of them. So some of my favorite ones. This is probably my favorite one. So this is also a Shun. So this is the 6-inch one, and this is the 8-inch one. This is the one that I use most often, and that's pinching up on the blade so you get a nice stable. Most people will hold the knife back here, and it's just not safe. So you want to pinch up on the blade and then chop down. If you're doing, some kind of, you're chopping herbs or something like that, you might want to put the point of the blade down and then chop, 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 chop. This is a Asian style knife. I didn't bring over my Western style knife, but this is an example of a Santoku knife. This one has the flat edge rather than the curved edge. This is another one that I like to use for chopping as well. And then this is the Nakiri, which is a great one for chopping vegetables and stuff. So this is a nice one again. But always make sure you chop up, hold up near the on the blade, pinch up on the blade. So a sharp knife is going to be much better, because if you have a blunt knife, you tend to, sort of put pressure into it, and then you might a sharp knife's just going to slice through something. And you mentioned tomatoes a moment ago. This is my tomato knife. This is a serrated edge. So
Huh.
when you cut tomatoes, you always want to use a serrated edge. So it's much like a bread knife, but this is a serrated edge knife. With tomatoes, they're sort of hard on the outside and soft on the inside. So when you have a dual surface, you want a serrated knife. So like bread, hard on the outside, soft on the inside. So try cutting your tomatoes with a serrated knife. That would
All
be
right.
better. And
And
then
do
just a little paring knife, similar thing I just use for little small things. But yeah, so definitely use sharp knives, but if you're going to sharpen your knives, hold them correctly, have a stable base, and just go slow. There's no reason to try and look like those fancy, Top Chef kind of shows. Just go slow. It's okay.
you have them in a block or do you have them on a magnet?
I do them on a block on my counter, and then I have a magnet in my pantry, half and half. So it used to be that these were my Asian knives over here, and then my ones in the magnet, those were the ones that the rest of the family could use, because they weren't allowed to use these for many years. Now everybody just uses everything, so they know how to take care of things. But it used to be, but a block's actually not that sanitary, because you're putting knives into the block. You need to actually sanitize your block or change your block out. I used to love using the magnet, actually. What do you use, man?
I use a block, but you're right.
Okay.
It's not that sanitary.
Mhm.
I am especially careful to wash well
And
and
dry.
yeah, because
Yeah.
otherwise they're sitting in a moist, actually absorbent surface for a long time.
Right, exactly. And so if you, yeah, you have to be aware of that, so, and be careful. So,
Well, I think we've taught them a lot today. I
yes,
think
God.
you've taught them what they want to do, how they want to do it, and hopefully that there's some value in investing in themselves. What I liken the cost of the bundle to is taking a friend out for lunch one time, a one and done. And when you do that, you're usually down 40, 50, $60, and it's a one time shot. The bundle is in some cases less than that. It's 49. And we're going to get all of this. And by the way, that is the front cover of my bundle contribution, Cook, Eat, and Live for Vibrant Health. So I'm just so pleased and honored, Elspeth, that we got to spend this time together. And again, this is what you'll find as the front cover of Elspeth's class. Oops there. Anyway, I cannot wait. And again, I'll dive right in. And I think that's it. I want to thank everyone for joining us here. Go find Elspeth on social media, specifically, mostly Instagram, right? Under
Yes,
the Speedy Vegan, right? With
the Speedy Vegan. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
give me a follow. If you have any questions, that's a great place to message me. Or my website, there's an email link there as well, thespeedyvegan@yahoo.com. My website's The Speedy Vegan. And if you have any questions or, want any information on anything, hit me up there. So I'd love it. Thank you so much, Nan, for having me. This has been wonderful. And I'm super excited about dinner. I can hear my husband coming in from his bike ride. So he's going to enjoy his dinner as well. So thank you, Nan.
Hold on for just a second and let me say goodbye to everyone. Bye, everyone. Have a great day. I know I'm going to. I certainly know Elspeth is too. Bye bye.